One narrow waterway, 12% of global trade, thousands of ships carrying oil, food, and electronics between continents, all funneled through a single shortcut carved across Egypt. But what would really happen if the Suez Canal suddenly closed? The Suez Canal cuts a straight blue line across northern Egypt, linking the Mediterranean Sea in the north to the Red Sea in the south. This 193-kilometer man-made channel runs from Port Said on the Mediterranean coast down to the city of Suez on the edge of the Red Sea. The canal traces the narrow isthmus of Suez, carving a passage between Africa and the Sinai Peninsula. Midway along its route, the Great Bitter Lake serves as a natural anchorage and a vital passing point for ships waiting their turn in the single-lane stretches. There are no locks or major elevation changes. The waterway sits at sea level, allowing even the largest modern vessels to move from one sea to the other without interruption. By directly connecting Europe's major ports to Asia's manufacturing centers, the Suez Canal eliminates the need to sail around the entire African continent. This single shortcut turns a long, perilous journey into a direct route, anchoring its place as one of the world's most strategic transport corridors. When the Suez Canal opened in November 1869, it changed the global map overnight. For the first time, ships could cross directly between Europe and Asia without circling Africa, a shortcut that trimmed weeks off the journey and turned Egypt's desert isthmus into a crossroads of empires. But the canal's importance has always come with risk. In 1956, during the Suez Crisis, military action forced a shutdown that stopped 1/3 of the world's oil shipments for months. An even longer closure followed the Six-Day War in 1967, when the canal was mined and blocked for 8 years. During that time, all traffic was forced to detour around the Cape of Good Hope, adding thousands of kilometers and up to 2 weeks to every voyage. Shipping costs soared and global trade slowed. These episodes proved that the canal's vulnerability is not a modern invention. It is a recurring fact of history, and the world has paid the price each time the waterway has gone silent. Each year, the Suez Canal carries between 12 and 15% of all global maritime trade. This is not just a number on a chart. It is the flow of oil, gas, containers, bulk raw materials, food and electronics that keep factories running and store shelves stocked. Oil and refined fuels make up the largest share by weight, as tankers carry Middle Eastern crude to European refineries and beyond. Container ships follow close behind, stacked with manufactured goods, electronics, auto parts, clothing, and everyday items moving between Asia and Europe. Bulk carriers haul iron ore, coal, and fertilizers, while refrigerated vessels bring grain and foodstuffs from one continent to another. Europe stands out as the region most dependent on this corridor. About 60% of its crude oil imports and nearly 70% of its containerized goods from East Asia arrive through the canal. When this single waterway functions smoothly, global trade flows with it. But any disruption here sends shockwaves far beyond Egypt's borders. When ships are forced to bypass the Suez Canal, every journey between Europe and Asia grows by over 9,000 kilometers. The detour around the Cape of Good Hope adds 10 to 15 days at sea, pushing up costs from the first mile. Fuel consumption jumps by as much as 40%, with a single container ship burning thousands of extra tons of bunker fuel, sometimes adding over $1 million to a single voyage. Longer routes mean higher crew wages and more wear on engines and hulls. Insurance costs climb too, as underwriters factor in added risks from storms and piracy off West Africa. For shipping carriers, these expenses hit immediately. If you appreciate deep dives into strategic geography and global trade, consider subscribing for more. Now, the real-world impact of such a disruption comes into sharp focus. In March 2021, the container ship Ever Given ran aground in the southern Suez Canal and brought global shipping to a halt. For 6 days, the world watched as a single vessel blocked more than 400 ships, creating a traffic jam that stretched from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean. Each day, an estimated $9.6 billion worth of goods sat idle. Oil, electronics, machinery, food, and raw materials were all trapped in limbo. The backlog rippled outward, delaying everything from car parts in Europe to electronics in Asia. The Ever Given's grounding offered a rare real-time look at the fragility of the global supply chain. What happened in those 6 days made it clear even a short disruption in the Suez Canal can send shockwaves across continents. A shutdown stretching into weeks or months would send shockwaves through every link in the supply chain. Container pools in Europe and Asia would quickly run dry as empty boxes pile up in the wrong places, driving up leasing and repositioning costs. Ships arriving in clusters would overwhelm ports from Rotterdam to Singapore, with average wait times at major Mediterranean terminals more than doubling. Factory floors across Europe would see production lines stall as inventories of key parts dwindle, while retailers scramble to fill empty shelves, pushing up prices on everything from electronics to clothing. Freight rates on the Asia to Europe route could soar by over 150%, according to Sea Intelligence and UNCTAD models. Energy markets would not escape. Oil and gas prices would swing wildly as tankers face longer journeys and regional shortages ripple out. The global supply chain, a vast but tightly choreographed system, would find itself out of sync. That would reveal just how much modern commerce depends on the uninterrupted flow through a single canal. Modern trade depends on fragile shortcuts. A single canal's closure can ripple across continents in days. In a connected world, even the narrowest choke point becomes everyone's problem. Subscribe for more strategic insights.